we'll kick it off with the Chiefs first. I mean, what more can I say? They finished 14-3 en route to their another Super Bowl in the last 5 years. They lost Tyreek Hill last year, no problem. Still took care of business. Why? Because you got Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce and Andy Reid. And funny thing about the Kansas City Chiefs, I noticed too, they play a lot of their rookies. Now, some teams may stray away from that, but I looked up a stat that they were third. They were tied for third for starting the most rookies. They started 7 of those guys, if I'm not mistaken. And so that's only helping their roster, right? You look at the money that they're paying to, Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, and you're thinking, well, how can they afford? Well, not even afford. How can they continue to be good? Well, this is why they've been drafting really well, and they play those guys. You see what happened with Isaiah Pacheco, the 7th-round draft pick, who started in the Super Bowl. Had his little run. So the rich get richer with them, and they added some pieces to the offensive line. Donovan Smith, I believe, from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who had a so-so season. And then Jawan Taylor to help bolster that offensive line. Why? Because you want to keep Patrick Mahomes upright. You want to keep him upright. So, you should expect more of the same with them. They're pretty consistent for the last, 6 or 7, 8 years. And they're not going anywhere anytime soon. Patrick Mahomes is getting better and better each and every year. Andy Reid does not look like he's fallen off. Now, the only difference is Eric Bieniemy is gone. So will the offensive play calling kind of falter a little bit? I doubt that, because Andy Reid he's the architect of that offense, and him and Patrick Mahomes together, it's dynamic. So we'll see. All right, the LA Chargers, a very hipster type pick for a lot of people to possibly challenge the Chiefs this year. Look, on paper, the Chargers have probably one of the best rosters in all of the National Football League, outside the AFC. Okay, period. But they always fall short because they just can't get it done. Now, they were up, 20-something points in the playoffs last year, and they ended up losing on the road to the Jacksonville Jaguars. But I still don't think this is the year for them. I think Brandon Staley is on the hot seat as a head coach. He's got to get it done. If not, he's out of there. And their quarterback, their young quarterback who's destined to get paid here shortly, 25 years old. He's probably one of the favorites to win the MVP, out of the AFC. The AFC is loaded with quarterbacks. And they've added some pieces like Quentin Johnson in the draft, the wide receiver out of TCU, to help with Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. Now, the Chargers may be without Austin Eckler because he's, in the midst of a financial dispute or for his contract. Rightfully so. That's a whole nother topic for that. But at the end of the day, the health of the defense will kind of determine what happens with the Chargers moving forward. You got guys like Khalil Mack, Joey Bosa, Derwin James, who have all these guys have missed significant time throughout their careers. If they can't get that health thing going, which I know you can't coach that up, it's just kind of a luck of a draw thing. You can't see them arguably competing for the AFC West, because the Chiefs are just that damn good. I mean, whether you want to say it or not, they're just that damn good, and nothing you can do about it. So we'll have to see. And you got new offensive coordinator Kellen Moore, former coordinator for the Dallas Cowboys, is now the offensive coordinator now in LA with Justin Herbert. How does that mesh well? Does that fit with them? We'll see how it goes. But at the end of the day, I think the Chargers really messed up. I think they should have let Brandon Staley go. Period. He's a defensive guy, and your defense is one of the worst, not worst, but they're not a top 10 defense. But again, injuries played a part in that, but we'll see. All right. Denver Broncos, who everyone thought last year was supposed to just be a juggernaut. You look at Russell Wilson, some of the weaponry that he had in his arsenal there. Nathaniel Hackett worked with Aaron Rodgers, so it just seemed like it would have been a simpatico fit. Didn't work out. Nathaniel Hackett's out of there. They had one of the worst defenses in all of the National Football League, and they finished 5-12 for it. And Russell Wilson had the worst year of his career. But they did something smart by hiring Sean Payton, a mastermind and a tactician on the offensive side of the thing. And he's a leader. He's a proven leader, unlike Nathaniel Hackett, who literally after one game had to hire a game coordinator to help him manage game situations. Like, dude, you're the head coach. That's your job, right? So that didn't work out. And so with Sean Payton coming in, you can kind of see, look, their defense is phenomenal. Considering the fact that that defense was on the field more often than not, if they can just somehow just be functional on offense, this team will be a lot better. Not saying they're going to challenge for the AFC West, but if Russell Wilson can get back on track, who knows? And they run the football the way that Sean Payton would like to run the football when he comes in. And they got guys to run the football there in Denver. And their offensive line has been, set up perfectly. They've improved that. So why not? Why not? So those are some of the things you want to look about when you talk about the Denver Broncos. So again, are they going to compete for the AFC West? In my opinion, probably not. But who knows? Maybe they can compete for the second place in the AFC West. And finally, the Raiders, you let Derek Carr go, and then you sign Jimmy G, which to me, it kind of was like a wash. They're kind of like the same player. Okay. They added Devontae Adams last year, who had an outstanding season, phenomenal season, but just as a team, they couldn't get it done. And Josh McDaniels is also on the hot seat. I would presume he's on the hot seat, just because they got to get it done, man. They have so much talent on the offensive side. Now, the defensive side of things is this. They're still, they give up some of the most amount of points. I think they're like fifth or sixth with points allowed. And that secondary is still hot garbage on trash day. Now, they have elite edge rushers. We see Max Crosby, who's an all-pro. Chandler Jones didn't have quite of the season that a lot of people expected him to have, considering his production when he was in Arizona. And then they went ahead and drafted Tyree Wilson out of Texas Tech to help bolster that pass rush. So hopefully, if they're in their mindset, they're thinking, well, if we can get after the quarterback, that should help us in our secondary. So we'll see if that works out for them, because if it doesn't, they're going to be in a world of hurt again, especially on the defensive side of things. And then you got the whole contract dispute thing with Josh Jacobs, who's not happy about being tagged. He wants to get paid. He did lead the league in the NFL, or excuse me, he did lead the league in rushing last year, and he wants to be paid just like all other running backs do. So, but those are some quick headlines, some previews about each of the teams in the AFC West. Let me know what your thoughts. Actually, we can do that right now. We got some comments already. Patrick Brown says, AFC West is the toughest division in football. Long as Magic Mahomes is king of the throne, divisional opponents better bring their best scheme every week. AFC West is one of the better divisions. I would say the NFC East is pretty good too. You got the Cowboys, Philly. The Giants could take that step up again, and the Commanders, well, they are what they are. He also follows up and says Chargers made the mistake of not hiring Sean Payton. That'll come back to burn them. Great as Justin Herbert is, Brandon Staley can't make coaching decisions to help the team. I absolutely agree with that. Chargers played their guys in a meaningless game, and Mike Williams got hurt and missed the wild card game. Exactly. So if they can stay healthy, that's always been the thing. No matter who's the coach there and for the Chargers, is health, man. Is health. They always get bit hard by the injury bug. I don't know what it is with that. They just do. So, all right.